In the shadows of the Himalayan mountain lies the North Indian city of Dharmsala. The city is playing host to a centuries-old Tibetan tradition called Shoton Festival, which literally translates as Yogurt Festival. Under the 5th Dalai Lama in the 1600s, on the 13th day of the 6th month in the Tibetan calendar, monks who finished a season of meditation celebrated by receiving offerings of yogurt and watching performances of Tibetan opera. Now, a collection of Tibetan opera troupes from India and further afield in Nepal are arriving here to perform. With their drums, cymbals and high tones, Tibetan operas are usually based on Buddhist scriptures and spread messages of love, peace and compassion. The festival in its current form was started in Dharmsala by the current Dalai Lama in 1993. This year, the Dalai Lama is here to inaugurate the 20th incarnation of the festival.
These operas are all mostly orally taught, and we have the whole stories of the Tibetan opera. It's all written down, So we pass this to the young generations.
This year, TIPA is performing a new opera called The Life of Buddha. It features 29-year-old artist Lharik Thakpa playing the role of Buddha.
Everybody knows how to sing it. But the next part is like, it's totally different. It's you have to train a lot to get that perfect, right? Make that perfect.
Though operas are performed in Tibetan, the festival attracts audience members from all over the world.
My teacher was astounded that I came across this old copy of a Tibetan opera troupe, and I fell in love with the sound. The namthars are incredible, the way that they move their voice. It's unlike anything that I'd ever heard before.
Every performance has the scope for adding news, current affairs and jokes in between. This aspect of the opera gives some Tibetans room to comment on current political and social conditions in their homeland. Tibetans say they don't have the freedom to practice their religion inside Tibet and have been calling for its freedom for years.
In a way, the Shoton Festival here is more pure. The Tibetan culture here is more pure because I would say hasn't been polluted by the Chinese Communist regime.
The performance themselves have a limited audience, meaning for many of the artists from the Tibetan community in exile, it's difficult to sustain a life as a performer.
It is very important for me, for us, like being an artist, right? It is important to pass that to the next generation, right?
For performers outside of TIPA, it's becoming increasingly difficult to do this full-time. That means many of them must take up other jobs and put together operas by practicing just a few weeks a year.
I have met numerous young, brilliant, very talented Tibetan performers, artists, as babysitters, kitchen hands in New York. They have no other jobs to do because there are very limited venues for them to perform, very limited opportunities for them to continue their careers.
Despite that, the Tibetan community in exile continues to promote and encourage the younger generation to take up the arts and preserve their culture so it doesn't get lost. The Shoton Festival will end with a performance by the Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts on 5th April.